Okay, so this is part 2 of the OP-07 review. We're going to talk about the purple, black, and yellow cards. If you haven't watched part 1, link will be in the description below. So let's start. We already talked about leaders. So Mizu, 3 cost, 0 power, counter 1000, activate main once per turn. If your leader has a Foxy Pirates type and you have no other Mizu, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and invest it. Okay, it's an activate main. So you can ramp every single turn. This is, I would say, a staple in Foxy because Foxy requires you to, I believe, Dawn -3. So this is a great way to kind of get it back. Imagine it's like Onigashima, except it's a body. So yeah, that's pretty good. So staple for Foxy, not in any other deck. We got Windsmoke Sanji, 1 cost, 0 power with counter 1000. On play, Dawn -1. If your leader has the Windsmoke family, type draw a 1 card. You can use Sanji to kind of continue your plays if you can't find the stage card. However, like there's a lot of limited slots in Reiju specifically for Reiju. Potentially there may be other Windsmoke family type leaders in the future that can use Sanji. But for Reiju, depends if you want to use it or not. I think people would favor the stage card even more. But this gets you to draw 1 additional card. And you don't have to use like something like Queen. You don't have to use... like you can... combined with Reiju's leader ability, you can draw 2. So for 1 cost, yeah, maybe like 1 or 2 copies just as a flex slot. I don't know. Let's move on to Reiju. Windsmoke Reiju. Oh, and so cute that the artworks are kind of related. You can see Reiju's hand right there. 1 cost, 2000 power with counter 1000. On play, if the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than the number of on your opponent's field, then return 1 of your Windsmoke family type characters with a cost of 1 to the owner's hand. So you can use Sanji's ability, you can play down Windsmoke Reiju, return Sanji to your hand, and then play it again in the next turn or so. I don't know if these cards are going to be used, honestly. I think Reiju's list is kind of tight already, and it works amazing as it is. So this is just something extra. Reiju players, let me know whether it's worth playing. So we got a Capote, 3 cost, 4000 power with counter 1000. On play, Dawn -1. If your leader has the Foxy Pirates type, up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Yeah, it's like combining with like the Foxy leader, you can kind of lock down, you know, when your opponent's vested leader, 1 character, and then they don't become active, and then you combine it with this card, and then one of your other characters cannot attack. So yeah, it could be quite annoying. It takes a lot to kind of set up because you need to Dawn minus so much. But I can see this card being played for sure. And it kind of acts as an additional character on the field to activate Foxy's effect. Boom, this Sanji, man. Okay, so this Sanji is 6 cost, 6000 power, counter 2000. It's a super rare. Then if the number of Dawn cards on your field is at least 2 less than your opponent's on your opponent's field, then give this card in your hand -3 cost. So it's a 3 cost, 6000 power. And he has blocker. You know what card, what deck this card is great in? Red Purple Law. Because you will be at more, or at least 2 Dawns less than your opponents, because you're constantly Dawn minusing 3, bottoming deck your opponent's characters, and then you can play out Sanji. It's really good. This card's really good. It's a 2k counter, so you can use it as a 2k counter if you need to. But a 6k body for only 3 costs. Yeah, Sanji. I love it, man. This card's really great. Alternate art goes freaking hard. Just love it. Yeah. Red Purple Law players, do pick up a playset. This card is definitely necessary in your deck. Next, we got Gina, the 1 cost, 0 power with counter 2000. So it's a counter 2k for Foxy. On play, if your leader has the Foxy Pirates type and the number of Dawn cards on the field is equal to or less than the number on your opponent's field, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck, etc. as active. So it's a ramp on the 2k. You can use it as a 2k or ramping. So it's great, staple. Yeah, OP Club right here. Next we got Chopper, 2 cost, 0 power with counter 1000. Blocker and on play, same thing. If your Dawn is equal or less, then you get to ramp 1. Yeah, I think that's the kind of metric of a Foxy deck. You are constantly playing these low-costed characters like Gina, Chopper, and keep on ramping and then locking down your opponent's cards before your payoff, which is the 7 cost Foxy, which we'll talk about in a bit. Next we got Tonjit, 1 cost 3k with counter 1000. It's a vanilla, so let's move on to Hamburg, 5 cost 6000 power with counter 1000. And Dawn 1, when attacking, if the number of Dawn cards on the field is equal to or less than your opponent, then you can ramp 1. So this is when attacking, so you have a way to kind of get it back. This combined with the earlier card, Ito, so I forgot already, Mizu, you can kind of ramp by 2 every turn. So that's really, yeah, it's really good. And this card is kind of the beater of the deck, I would say. Just putting 1 Dawn on him and attacking, you get to ramp. Yeah, it's not locked to Foxy Pirates, by the way. Huh. It's not locked to Foxy Pirates, so I don't know. You could potentially use it under purple decks. Purple Luffy? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Next, we got Pickles. 3 cost, 4000 power, counter 1000. If the number of Dawn cards on the field is equal to or less than your opponent's, then your Foxy Pirate type characters other than Pickles cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects. Yeah, I think that's a... If it can't be removed, it will be even better. Then it wouldn't be a common, it would be a rare. But it's extra protection for your Foxy Pirates if you need it. It's great. Then we got Big Bun, 6 cost 7000 power with counter 1000. On play, if the number of Dawn cards, same thing, is equal to or less, then you can play up to 1 Foxy Pirates type card with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. This is really great. As long as you have less Dawn, equal to or less Dawn in your opponent, you can swarm the board with Big Bun, and then you can play out like Pickles, you can play out you know, not Foxy, but the other one, Porsche, which is really, really good. So yeah, staple. I think the objective of Foxy is just flooding the board and then locking down your opponents and then eventually getting through and winning the game. Maybe I can try it out one day. I think Foxy is pretty interesting. Next is Foxy himself. This is one of the best artworks, hands down. 7 cost, 7000 power. On your opponent's turn, if your leader has the Foxy Pirates type, give all your opponent characters minus 1000 power. So it's a little bit slow beaming your opponent's characters. And activate main, you get the ramp 1 every turn. Yeah, this card is your payoff. I could say it's your top end. You could play Foxy and then have like a 9 cost Kaido or something. It could work. It could work. I'm just saying. Then you can like Dawn -5, but you have all these characters that lets you ramp again. And then you can lock down your opponent's stuff with your Foxy ability. So you like play Kaido, Dawn -5, Dawn -3, and then you Dawn minus everything, and then you just keep ramping it back up. Hey, that's a deck right there. That's a deck idea right there. Let's go. Potential. This Foxy though, I like it. I like it. Here's the parallel artwork. I kind of prefer the old artwork, this one over this. But yeah, it's the boxing one. Then we got Porsche, 3 cost 5000 power with Dawn -1. On play, Dawn -1. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Foxy Pirates and add it to your hand. And then you can then place the rest at the bottom and play up to 1 purple character with 4000 power or less from your hand. So it's a searcher that lets you play out something. You can play out this to get back some Dawn. You can play your Capote. You can play Gina. There's a lot of things. You can play Chopper. There's a lot of things you can play with Porsche. The alternate art goes quite hard as well. Yeah, you really, this card is really necessary to make Foxy work because it's your searcher, and you can kind of fill up the board to use towards Foxy's effect. Yeah. And next up, we got Afro Luffy, best card in the set. Monkey D. Luffy, 6 cost 7000 power. Activate main once per turn, Dawn -3. If your opponent has 3 or more characters, so this character is active. So this is the sort of like anti-Foxy card because, you know, Luffy is supposed to fight Foxy. You still Dawn -3, but you can restand it and then attack into some of your rested opponent's characters. So kind of like it that it's like supposed to be anti-Foxy. But yeah, pretty cool. Then we got Monda, 2 cost 3000 power, counter 1000. Activate main, you may trash this character. If your leader has Foxy Pirates, you can ramp 1 vested. Yeah, okay. You can set this up, use Foxy's ability, trash it, get a Dawn back. There's a lot of things you can do with this. Then we got Slow Beam, a 1 cost event card with counter Dawn -1. Give up to one each of your opponent's leader and character cards minus 2000 power during this turn. This is pretty strong. This is a pretty strong effect. You can reduce the power of your leader and your opponent's leader and one of their characters by 2k, so it makes countering out of attacks easily. easier, prevents your opponent from attacking with them. Yeah, I the Foxy deck is kind of forming in my mind right now, and I don't like it. I don't know if I want to play it. So we got the slow beam sword, a 2-cost event counter as well, Dawn -1. Up to one of your leader or character gains plus 2000 power during this turn. Then rest one of your opponent's characters. This card is so good. Trigger is to ramp 1. Okay, that's great. This card is not Foxy Pirates locked. Okay, yes, it's a 2-cost Dawn -1, only 2k, but you get to rest one of your opponent's characters so you can prevent them from going for game. If you if you need to, you can rest one of your opponent's blockers. Yeah, I think there's a place for this particular purple card in decks outside of Foxy as well. I'm seeing like purple Luffy, potentially if you're leaving some Dawns up, which is kind of rare, but other purple decks could potentially play this. Kaido, yeah, I can see it. I can see it. It's quite strong. Then we got another purple event card. We're going to claim the One Piece. Let's go. It's a 1-cost searcher, but it searches Animal Kingdom Pirates and Big Mom Pirates. Then place the rest at the bottom and then trigger activate this card's main effect. But it's crazy good because you are searching for not only Animal Kingdom but Big Mom Pirates as well. So in the future, there may be a crossover Big Mom Pirates and Animal Kingdom Pirates deck. We need the leader for it, and then we can shove everything together. Purple, yellow. Let's go. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Great card. Megaton 9 Tails Rush is a 3-cost main event card. So main, if the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than your opponent's, then set up to one of your Foxy cards as active. That's pretty good. Then trigger is to ramp by 1 as active. Okay, so that's pretty good as well. So it's kind of like using it. You can pump this and then attack twice with 7k, or you can pump your leader and attack a couple of times with this. So it's kind of similar to like Uta, right? Uta has the green Uta has the I'm invincible that you can continually attack. So it's also you have less Dawn than your opponent. Equal, so if you both have 10, you put 4 Dawns onto your Foxy leader, swing for 9, play this, restand it, swing for 9, play another one of this, restand it. Idea. Okay, this could be the finisher that Foxy needs. Pretty cool. Alright, next we are going to talk about the black card. So starting with Kaku. So black has an emphasis of CP0 because Rabluchi is a leader. 4-cost 5000 power, counter 2000, so that immediately playable. On play, you may place 2 cards with a type including CP from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. Then give up to one of your opponent's characters -3 cost during this turn. Yeah, Lucci's ability is you can trash 2 cards from the top of your deck and then give up to one of your opponent's characters -1. So you can use Lucci's ability, trash 2, give something -1, use Kaku, and put a 2 into the bottom of the deck and give -3. So a total of -4. Yeah, potential. And it's for 2k counter, so definitely playable. We got Khalifa, also CP0, 4-cost 5000 power with counter 1000, Dawn 1. On your turn, give all of your opponent's characters -1 cost. Pretty decent, and overall Anthem cost effect, I like it. So yeah, potentially can be used. Captain John, y'all. It's Captain John, Trailer Bark Pirates, former Rocks Pirates. Let's go. 2-cost 3000 power, counter 1000. On play, trash 2 cards from the top of your deck and give up to one of your opponent characters -1 during this turn. So it's like Rabluchi's ability. And like I can see this being played in Gecko Moria if they need additional minus costs. And you can fuel your trash by playing this card, so you get 2 cards in the trash that you can use with Gecko Mori's ability. Oh, sorry, like Dr. Hawkback and some other cards abilities, and then give something -1. So yeah, really good. Oh, speaking of which, Gecko Moria, 4-cost 5000 power, counter 1000. Activate main. You may place 4 Thriller Bug Pirates type cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. This character gains banish and +1k power during this turn. Okay, pretty cool. They're good against yellow because of banish. So you can activate main. It's not once per turn, by the way. So you can continually use this. If you have a lot of trash, there can be a Gecko Moria deck that where you just like, playing a Sindri and then just getting cards into your trash, and then you play Gecko Moria. When you want to go for the big swing, you just put everything to the bottom of your deck and then you can give banish and then plus 1k for every 4 cards. Okay, could be cool, and easier to put just Dawns onto Gecko Moria, but this is an additional way you can boost up the power. Yeah, I like it. Very thematic on the Thriller Bug because he's getting all the shadows. Anyway, we got Gizmonda, 2 cost, 2000 power, CP0, counter 1000. It's a blocker. Yeah, it's good. Next, we got Stussy. 9 cost, 9000 power with on play. You may trash one of your characters, KO to one of your opponent's characters. Just immediately just KO it. I mean, of course, like if you can't be KO'd, that's fine. But you can KO a 10 cost Big Mom just by trashing one of your characters. Could be a searcher, could be a brand new, could be anything. And you play Stussy, trash that shit, KO one of your opponent's characters. Strong. Very, very strong card. Very strong removal. The AA, not bad. I mean, like both artworks, really well done. We got Spandam, 3 cost, 4000 power with counter 1000. On play, trash 2 cards from the top of your deck and give up to one of your opponent's characters a -2 cost during this turn. Actually a pretty decent effect for Spandam. Yes, stat line is kind of below average because 4000 power, but potentially useful. And yeah, I mean, if you want, you can bring it back with Gecko Moria to use one of the 4 cost slots on Spandam to give something -2. So yeah, it could work that way as well. Then we got Baskerville, 3 costs, 3000 power with counter 2000. World Government. Okay, then on your turn, if your opponent has a character with a cost of 0, this character gains 3000 power. Yeah, dependency on having that, it's not that great, but it's a 2k counter, so if you need to use it for World Government type deck for some reason, I think it's gonna happen in the future. Yeah, you can potentially use it for Baskerville. Next, we got Hattori, 1 cost, 0 power with counter 2000. This is an absolute staple in Rabluchi because on your turn, once per turn, up to one of your Rabluchi cards gains plus 2000 power during this turn. And I can see not this current Rabluchi, not CP0, but CP9 Rabluchi, where you can have multiple attacks, restand your Rabluchi, and then attack again. If you got Hattori, it acts like a Makino a little bit. You just play Hattori into Hattori into Hattori into Hattori plus 8k. For 4 dawns only, and then you pump up your Lucci by 8000. So it's like trying to math here. 13k. You use one of your black cards to KO something. Okay, you attack, KO something. Lucci has the ability to restand itself and attack again. Yeah, pretty solid stuff. Hattori, love it, man. Love it. Next, we got Maha. First time I know that this guy's name is Maha. 6 costs, 8000 power with counter 1000. It's a vanilla, so let's move on. 2 Morgans. 2 costs, 2000 power with counter 1000. On play, your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand and reveals their hand. Then your opponent draws 1 card. Yes, your opponent gets to draw a card, replacing the card that they trash. But you get so much info, man. You get so much info about the counters, about the threats that they have in your hand, and in the late game you can use this to kind of gain a lot of information on how you can sequence your attacks. In the late game, you just for 2 dawns you can see, okay, you got like 3k counter in your hand, you only have 1 life, I assume that's a 2k counter, then you can plan around the attacks. I like Morgans. Not a full 4 off, mind you, but maybe like 2 off, especially in later half of the game. Yes, you are giving them 1 card, so you gotta reevaluate whether it's like worth it to give them a card for information. But I like this card, man. I'm gonna slot summon Gecko Moria. I think it's gonna be good. Alright. Zombie Monkey D. Luffy, 5 cost, 6000 power with counter 1000. When attacking, trash up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. Then place any number of character cards with a cost of 4 or more from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. This character gains 1000 power during this turn for every 3 cards placed at the bottom of your deck. So it's kind of combating that earlier Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria needs 4, Luffy only needs 3 because it's like forcefully putting souls into his body, right? Yeah, and you can get rid of a blocker, 2k blocker, like Cerberus, for example. And then you can like pump up Luffy and then go for the kill. Yeah. So I'm not sure how useful this card will be in the grand scheme of things and metagame. But potential, I mean, you could use this as a one-off, as a tech piece against Gecko Moria. I don't know, maybe. Yeah, we gotta wait and see whether this card's gonna be good or not. Right now, it's just mediocre. Like, the effect's pretty cool, but there are stronger cards out there. Next, we got Joseph. One cost 2,000 power with counter 1,000. You may place 2 cards with a type including CP from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. This is a removal for CP 0. And yeah, it's really good. This card is really, really good. It's mana efficient as well. Sorry, Dawn efficient. It's only 1 Dawn. And all you need to do is place 2 cards with CP to the trash, and then you can kill something. 1 or less doesn't matter. That X or less doesn't matter because it's black. You can reduce stuff to 1 or below. All that matters is that this card can KO things for only 1 Dawn. So really, really good. We got Lucci. 5 cost 6,000 power with counter 1,000. You may place 3 cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. Your opponent trashes 1 card from your hand. Then you may place up to 1 card from your opponent's trash at the bottom of their deck. Alright, I like this card. Yeah, well, okay, on play, you place 3 cards from your trash. Okay, so that doesn't matter if it's CP or not. You just put 3 cards from your trash to the bottom of the deck. Your opponent discards 1 and place your opponent discards 1 card from the hand essentially. Then you can kind of mess around and screw up some like a Sagazuki that has a Rebecca being played or Gecko Moria, because you can target what they want from the trash and place it at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, this card is kind of solid in that regard. Like it's a really perfect like anti-metagame card. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. You can either target the source, hopefully, like your opponent trashes 1 card from the hand. If you happen to choose like the Gecko Moria, there you go. If not, the Gecko Moria's target, you can kind of target it so your opponent has to choose a lesser target. Yeah. You know what's the weird thing is that this Rob Lucci is probably gonna end up targeting the other Rob Lucci, the super rare Rob Lucci, because that card is probably in like a Sakazuki or Gecko Moria's trash, and then yeah, you place it to the bottom of the deck. I don't know, that's kind of funny to me, but it's good. It's a great anti-tech piece. All right, then we got Shave. 1 cost counter up to one of your leader or character gains plus 2k power during this battle. Then if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, return up to 1 of your characters with a type of including CP to the owner's hand. Okay, so you can potentially give something plus 2k. You can return back Joseph to your hand. Okay, yeah, I get the idea of Shave because it's like, you're moving so fast, you can't get it hit and it returns back to your hand. Yeah, okay. Then trigger return up to 1 of your characters to the owner's hand. There are ways to use this. Once again, the only thing that I can think of right now is Joseph, but I'm sure there are other cards out there that you can use and utilize the abilities to see. Could be good. You can return it, use it again, KO something. There you go. Then we got Iron Body, a 2 cost event card. Counter up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains plus 4,000 power. Then if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, that card gains an additional 2k. So it's a 2k plus 6k. It's a 2 cost plus 6k as long as you have 10 or more cards in your trash. Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Will catch some people off guard for sure. Whether or not, yeah, you got to be really fueling your trash to kind of make this consistently work, but it could work. Then the trigger is up to 1 of your leader or character gains plus 1,000 power. Yeah, you like in situations it will be useful, but 2 cost plus 6k. I like that. I like that a lot. We got Tempest Kick, but man, all these 3 cards, Luffy's just getting his ass kicked. 1 cost event card, main, draw 1 card. Then if your opponent has 10 or more cards in your, then if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, give up to 1 of your opponent's minus 3 costs. Yeah, it's really good. This card's really good. Yes, you do need to spend some time setting up, but as long as you have 10 or more and you're not returning it actively to the bottom of the deck, then yeah, minus 3 right there. And then trigger is to KO 1 of your opponent's characters with cost of 3 or less. There are targets out there. That's going to be good. Tempest Kick, pretty awesome. All right, we are coming down to our last color, which is yellow. We're going to talk about the Vegapunk cards. I'm really, really excited about that. Let's go. That's the alternate art that I got. Woo! All right. I have tested with yellow. I have tested with Vegapunk. The deck is actually really quite strong and it's really hard. It's not like Iceberg where, yes, you are pumping out your 5 cost cards, because with Vegapunk, you can kind of switch. You can either be aggressive or you can play defensively. You can like spam out your 5 cost stuff and then you start building your life. You can just go from 2 life to 3 to 4, so on and so forth. So Vegapunk, ability wise, is very versatile compared to something like an Iceberg, but I really like Vegapunk. I enjoyed the gameplay. I enjoyed playing Vegapunk because playing a 5 cost 6,000 power on turn 1, whew, feels unfair, but it feels great. Speaking of which, this is Atlas, 5 cost 6,000 power, we got to 1,000. If you have less cards than your opponent, and if you are Vegapunk, you will be at less life. This character cannot be KO'd in battle. So your only way your opponent can get rid of it is by effects, which means at the early game, this is a great card to play on turn 1. Because your opponent can't like put Dons onto your on itself and attack into Atlas, causing you to use a counter because it can't be KO in battle. So good. Then trigger if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. Just unfair. So good. No drawback, by the way. Next we got Usopp. 1 cost 2,000 power with 2 counter 2,000. Doesn't have any abilities, but it has trigger up to one of your 8-hit type leader or character gains plus 2,000 power until end of your next turn. Until end of your next turn is pretty important because that means if like you trigger this from your life, you give Vegapunk plus 2,000 power, so Vegapunk will be 7,000. Then until the end of your next turn, meaning that Vegapunk is still 7,000 power. Of course, Vegapunk can attack, but at least like every subsequent attack from your opponent, they have to kind of factor in that 2k. Actually, really quite good. I might need to put Usopp back. I was using Usopp for a while. I swapped it out with another 1 cost 2k. May have to put it back in. This thing is pretty good. Edison, this is a staple for Vegapunk. Actually, all of the satellites are in its own way. 4 cost 5,000 power, counter 2,000. On play, if you have 2 or less life cards, draw 2 and trash 2 cards from your hand. So it's a great way to cycle through your deck. And then after that, you can use something like a Katakuri to put it back into your life, put it into your hand, put it into your life, trigger again, smooth out your draws. Trigger if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. This card's great, 100%. So let's move on to Shaka. 5 cost 6,000 power with counter 1,000 with blocker. You can put this card in your life. It's like make your own Sanji. You don't even need to trash a card and play a card. You can just put this card in your life. Your opponent attacks it. Boom, you got a 5 cost 6,000 power blocker. What an insane deck, man. What Vegapunk is something else. Trigger if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. We get it. We get it. It's good. Jinbei, 5 cost 6,000 power with counter 1,000. Trigger is return up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less to the owner's hand and add this card to your hand. Great card to kind of prevent your opponents from having like a red purple law, bam, return it to your hand. A Borsalino blocker, return it to your hand. So I think this card is really good and there can definitely see some play with Jinbei for sure, 100%. A couple of copies in a Vegapunk deck for sure. Next, we got 2020 Chopper. 2 cost 3,000 power with counter 1,000. A trigger up to one of your 8-hit type character gains blocker. Then add this card to your hand during this turn. I mean, you have stuff like Shaka. I don't think like Chopper is really necessary, but the drip is very cute. So not the most stapley of staples for Vegapunk. Yeah, I think you have Shaka, it's enough. Nico Robin, by the way. 3 cost 4,000 power, counter 1,000. Trigger if your leader has the 8-hit type, draw 2 cards. The thing with Vegapunk is that Vegapunk suffers a lot from card draw, like lack of card draw. Robin is a great way to just automatically draw 2 cards. Yes, you're not getting into your hand, you don't need it. Trigger, draw 2. If you have something like a Shirahoshi, you can use it as well to draw even more cards, filter through your deck. So yeah, I think Nico Robin definitely useful, and you can put it into your life with Vegapunk's ability. Hell yeah. Oh, of course, the drip, unparalleled. Waifu. 5 cost 6,000 power Pythagoras with counter 1,000. On KO, if you have 2 or less life cards, play up to 1 AK type character with a cost of 4 or less from your trash rested. You can use this to bring back Edison. You can use this to bring back Nico Robin for the card draw. Trying to see where this works. I don't think it's the best because it's on KO. And you need to have 2 or less life cards, which is why I'm not playing Pythagoras in my Vegapunk deck. But it's worth testing out to see whether this card is really good. I haven't fully tested the deck out, but I think there are better slots in the 5 cost 6,000 power area compared to the other satellites. This is not the best. If your leader is Vegapunk, play this card, yes. And then next we got Fusa, 4 cost 6,000 power with Dawn 1 when attacking. If you have 1 or less life cards, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. Yeah, conditional, because I mean, of course, you're playing this in something like an Annual because it's Sky Island and you have 1 or less life cards and it wants to be at 1. But yeah, I don't see this being as good because 3 costs or less, if it's 4 costs or less, I would have considered, because you can KO something like a Rebecca, you can KO something like a Rob Lucci on Sakazuki's side of the field. But this way you can KO stuff like a Brand New, you can KO stuff like a Tashigi if this guy gets to attack. So, okay, but not the best out there. This card, however, is a rare Frankie. 4 cost 5,000 power with counter 2,000. Trigger, draw 1 card. Then if you have less than 1 life cards, play this card. So this lets you draw 1. Of course, you have to use it, but if you have 1 or less life cards, you can play it immediately, and then next turn, like Katakuri back to your life. Such a good card. Such a great card. Great card for yellow. And the alternate art, Drip, goes hard. Vega Force 1 is 4 cost, 6,000 power with counter 1,000. It's vanilla. Not that good because no trigger, but let's move on. You can play it out with Vegapunk on turn 1 if you want to. Anyway, we got Monkey D. Luffy, 5 cost 6,000 power. This is the super rare Luffy, counter 1,000. Activate main, you may trash this character if you have 2 or less life cards. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less, then draw 1 card. Trigger ability is KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. This card's really good to play on like turn 1 or like before some of the other 5 cost 6,000 power for Vegapunk, because you can attack with it, use the ability, you have 2 or less life cards, KO something that's 4 or less, and then you can spam out another 5 cost 6,000. If it's a blocker on your opponent's side of the field, this takes care of it. If it's searcher on your opponent's side of the field, this takes care of it as well. Luffy, and it draws you a card, so it does everything that Vegapunk wants you. You don't mind that it's in your trash because you can run a full playset. You can use this as removal. You can use this as an attacker. You can use this to draw a card. Great super rare. The artwork, also really great. Next we got York, 5 cost 6,000 power with counter 1,000. On play, you may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. If your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. This is good for getting rid of those mini searches like Jewelry Bonnie, of course like Brand New, and also Tashigi, because those are targets for Hound Blaze for Sakazuki. Yeah, this card is great, and like it adds the card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand, so you're essentially just drawing 1, and it's an on play, so yeah, I like it. Next is Lilith. Let's go. 3 cost 5,000 power, no counter. This is the super rare yellow Lilith. It's a searcher for a hit type card other than Lilith, and then put it into your hand and place the rest at the bottom. And then if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. You can use this early game to search. You can play this on, if you're going second on your 4-dawn turn, you can play Lilith and use Vegapunk's ability to put whatever you search for or cards in your hand into the field or into your life. Lilith is just perfect in every way for Vegapunk. Necessary staple. Alternate art goes great. I prefer the original art. But yeah. Next we got Lucy. 6 cost 7,000 power with when attacking once per turn, you may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. Then you may rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Then if you have 1 or less life cards, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your top of your life cards. You can use this in any of the ST13 leaders because they all have share yellow base. Yeah, I think this is decent because you can use black yellow Luffy to kind of heal 2, and then add the card to your hand. Does it work that way? Does it go to your hand? If not, you can use it with Sabo. Yeah, either way, you can use this in any yellow based leader essentially. I gotta check the black yellow rulings for that. But yeah, you can rest your opponents with cost 4 less. So that's important because Borsalino, Rebecca, all the blockers are 4 costs, and you get to heal 1 if you have 1 or less life cards. So Anil can play this. Anil can definitely play this. It's when attacking. So if Anil's at 2 life, you attack with this. You take a life, and then you heal one, you rest, and then you heal one. Yeah, I can see this definitely being played. Not consistently, but potentially. All right, we got Zoro with the drip, 5 cost 6,000 power with counter 1,000. Trigger if your leader has the egg hit type, rest up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards. Zoro is Capone Gang beige now. Let's go. Okay, so yeah, it's just so good. You can set this up. It makes like green Uta a little bit hard as well because oh no, that one can't attack. But you can rest like okay, first of all, you can rest a blocker to go for game next turn. You can rest if your opponent attacks with their character first and he hits Zoro, you can rest the leader. So something like a Gecko Moria can attack, something like a Doflamingo can attack. Doesn't work with Uta, unfortunately, because Uta has the I'm invincible to restand herself. So that's out of the question. But other leaders that require you to attack, like Doflamingo, Gecko Moria, this is a good card for that, yeah. And can prevent lethal. All right, we are down to the yellow event cards before we jump into the secret rares. He possesses the world's most brilliant mind. This is your searcher, a 1-cost event searcher. And I feel like, okay, yeah, it's a searcher, flop by cards for an egg-hit type card. So not potentially just the characters, but events as well, except for this current event. Trigger ability is draw 1 card. But for Vegapunk, it is absolutely necessary that that you have this because you lack the card draw. I'm playing a full set of 4 just so I can cycle through my deck, find what I need, spam it out with Vegapunk's ability. Still testing, so there you go. But I like it. I like this card as well. And yeah, I require help. 1 cost counter. If you have 2 or less life cards, which Vegapunk does, then you just get a 3k. So it's almost like a guard point. Then trigger, play up to one of your egg-hit type cards with a cost of 5 or less from your trash. So it's a great way to kind of recover some of your 5 cost Vegapunk characters from the trash to your field. And then, yeah, keep your plays going. So quite good. I think some lists do test this. I haven't tested this card out just yet, but there's definitely a place for it in a Vegapunk type deck. Alright, next we got Blaze Slice, a 1-cost event card with main and counter. Up to one of your leader or character gains 1,000 power during this turn. Then if your opponent has 2 or less life cards, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. So that's pretty good for 1 cost. You can rest something that's 4 or less if you have 2 or less life cards. You can use this in Yellow Yamato. You can use this in any yellow that potentially... You can use this for the late game to rest your opponent's character. It's like an Amaru kind of, just that you only pump by 1,000. But you can use it defensively as well. So there are cases where this is good in both scenarios, both offensively when you're trying to go for game or defensively when you're trying to prevent one of your opponent's characters from attacking. Yeah, I can see it. I can see people trying this out. Trigger is rest one of your opponent's characters with cost of 4 or less. Yeah, that will come up sometimes. So that's pretty good. And then lastly is the stage card Egghead. 2 costs, stage card, end of your turn. If you have 3 or less life cards, set up to one of your Egghead type characters with a cost of 5 or less as active. Trigger ability is play this card. I don't think this card is that good because, like, yeah, it prevents your opponent from like attacking into your characters, your Egghead characters, but you are just spamming them out. You just protect them with counters. You just spam more out. Your opponent's gonna have a hard time to deal with it. Either way, you don't need this extra protection, and it's gonna take up slots in your deck. So I don't think this is that good of an event card. Unless like people find a way to make it absolutely necessary, like a card, a Vegapunk card that they absolutely don't want to let go of, and then this is good. But if not, I think you can drop it. And there we go. We kind of covered every single card from OP-07. Man, what a long ass recording. We have talked about the Sabos and we have talked about the Ace. I think Ace is really good in Vegapunk potentially. It's just a solid 10 cost card. I don't think you play the full 4. You could potentially, but maybe a 2 off or 3 off is good enough. And then Sabo is gonna be really good when we kind of find out whether things are gonna be banned or restricted. So we gotta wait. If you have a Sabo, hold on to it. If once the announcement is out, then you can potentially let it go or play it in your decks. Whew, there you go. Every single card in OP-07. Let me know which one's your favorite. I really like the Vegapunk stuff. I really like the Bonnie stuff. And yeah, I think this is a really fun set. I think there's a lot, and I'm glad they are boosting up the power of like older decks like OP-01 Doflamingo. So that's really great. That's it from me for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion review. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one for more content. Peace.